Bryan Fonseca here, checking in on behalf of the Action Network. We haven't done one of these in a while, and this weekend calls for it. We have the return of some boxing bets. And admittedly, a lot of these are leans, but still, we have two big cards this weekend. First up, on Friday night, Madison Square Garden, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor for the third time. Katie Taylor is a defending champion once again, defending her undisputed championship at 140 pounds against Amanda Serrano. Third time we've seen this. Both times Katie Taylor won, both times in controversial fashion. We'll get to that in a second. We have an undercard also featuring Alicia Baumgartner, Chantel Cameron, other champions, so on and so forth. This is reportedly the most titles we've ever seen on the line in one card. And it's an all-women card. So it's going to be very, very interesting and fascinating how that shakes out. Otherwise, Saturday night, Louis Armstrong Stadium at the U.S. Tennis Center. We have Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Sheeraz. We also have Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. There are other fights worth mentioning too, but those are the signature two, along with Alberto Puello defending his title at 140 against Subriel Matias. So let's get into Friday night first, because we have some bets worth talking about. Amanda Serrano lost the first two fights against Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor won despite being outlanded by Serrano both times. In the first fight, which was also at Madison Square Garden in 2022, Taylor was outlanded by Serrano 173 to 147. And Serrano, though, was far less accurate. She threw 624 punches in 10 rounds. So 62.4 punches per round to the champion's 375. But Katie Taylor was 12 percentage points more accurate. And from a round to round basis, that sort of showed. And in the scorecards, even though I thought Amanda Serrano might have done enough to win, it's understandable how you can get to the conclusion round by round that Katie Taylor won. And Katie Taylor was dominated in one round in particular, round 5, where Serrano nearly had her out on the feet and outlanded her 44 to 14. You move on to fight number 2, rather, and this was on the co-feature of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, so you may have seen it. Amanda Serrano outlanded Katie Taylor 324 to 217 and was also more accurate. 44 punches landed to 41, roughly 41 by Katie Taylor. Still didn't win the fight. Now, that one I can't really explain to you. Even though Katie Taylor had a point deduction for headbutting in round 8, she did win narrowly by 1 point on every judge's scorecard. So we go into this fight. This is kind of like, you know how in the NBA and you have a 2-0 series and you're going into game 3, and if the talent is close enough between the two teams, so basically if it's not a round 1 series, unless it's a 4-5, you're looking at this like, oh, okay, now it's time for the team that's down 0-2 to get theirs back, especially if they're going back on their home floor. That's kind of what this is to me. I feel like this is a get-right spot in some ways for Amanda Serrano. Some of it because of in-ring stuff, some of it because of politics. Now, Amanda Serrano's the B side here. Katie Taylor is the A side. Her name goes in front in the billing. She's the champion going into this. And even though it's in Madison Square Garden, there's going to be a large Irish contingent supporting her, even though Amanda Serrano is from here. But Amanda Serrano's promoter, MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, that's Jake Paul, Nikisa Bedarian, they're the ones heavily promoting this. This is their fight in a lot of different ways, because everyone else fighting on the card damn near is an MVP fighter. This is also going to be on Netflix. And MVP has a working relationship with Netflix. And Amanda Serrano losing the first 2 fights, the second one more so controversially than in the first fight. And the first one was controversial too. This just feels like a bounce back, get right spot. And Vegas is telling you that because Amanda Serrano is a nearly 2-1 favorite, which has never been the case for either of the first 2 fights. As a matter of fact, I think Katie Taylor closed as the favorite for both. And if she didn't, it was very, very close. But this one is the furthest that the odds have been. And because of that, I do think Amanda Serrano, there's a point as to why she can win this. And I think by decision is how it will happen. And there's different ways to play that. There's a straight up decision. I would say don't play it at the book that starts with an F, the famous one, because they have a working relationship with MVP. So you're not going to get the best odds there. But if you shop around, you can still get plus 100 for Amanda Serrano to win by decision. That's a lean for me. The other plays that I'm interested in are long shots. You have a majority decision plus 800. To get that, you need one judge to have it even and the other 2 judges to have it in favor of the winner. In this case would be Amanda Serrano. Then you have a split decision, which similarly priced, and it's similarly in terms of how you want the judging to work out in your favor. You get two judges to go for your fighter and one judge to go for the other, essentially. That happened in the first fight. Katie Taylor won by split decision. Last time was unanimous, though barely unanimous. Both of those, majority decision and split decision, are plus 800 or better on the market. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing a plus 850 right now. If you want to back a fighter in the close fight like this, also look at those as just long shot sprinkles, majority decision and split decision. It could happen often in these close 50-50 ish fights. And another thing I would add, the draw is probably worthwhile, plus 1100. It feels like they might want a definitive winner, whoever they might be, but a draw is probably worth it at plus 1100 as a long shot sprinkle as well. Moving on to the rest of the card, there's one more fight I think that's worth touching on from a betting perspective. There are a lot of fights that I love on this card that I will want to watch, but I'm going to have a difficult time coming to a bet for a lot of them. You have a lot of healthy favorites, we'll say, and it's going to be difficult to get value throughout the night. But I like in this fight, we have Eli Skaltny and Yamileth Mercado. Yamileth Mercado is a plus 550 underdog, and I think that's a mistake. So this is a value play for me. I'm going to take a little shot on her as a plus 550 underdog against Eli Skaltny. This fight is for super bantamweight undisputed championship, and Mercado is a pressure fighter who has more pop in her shots than Skaltny does. Skaltny's 10-0 with 0 knockouts. Now, part of that is because women's boxing is 2-minute rounds, but with Mercado, I think the pressure that she could implement, and I think just overall her ring generalship, and the fact that she is going to throw a volume of punches, like a volume of punches, and really make Eli Skaltny work. I think putting her at plus 550 is a mistake, even if she isn't necessarily as skilled from a counter punching perspective. So I like to take a shot at her as an underdog here at plus 550. Moving on to Saturday night's card. Saturday night, we have, let's go to Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Sheeraz first. This one is very difficult. This is about 50-50. Sheeraz has moved to being a little bit more of a favorite as of late, but he's moving up in weight. He's never fought at super middleweight before, and those 8 pounds make a difference. He's been fighting at middleweight, 160 to 168. He kind of got exposed in his last fight against Carlos Adames, but Carlos Adames was doing things like moving his head and being sharp defensively. Edgar Berlanga doesn't have that reputation. He's a straight up power puncher. He has improved a little bit incrementally, but if he can put some shots together, then we could see some progress here. But he also needs to defend himself against Hamza Sheeraz's jab. Hamza Sheeraz is 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. Edgar Berlanga is 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. Berlanga's big strength is his power and his experience in this weight class. He can't stop talking about the Canelo Alvarez fight that he had. We didn't really come away from that being like, oh, okay, he's gotten a ton better. But before that, you could see the incremental progress. My lean here is Berlanga by knockout or technical knockout at plus 250. I think Sheeraz is a little overrated, and I think the Carlos Adames fights show that. And if he's mostly going to lean on the jab, that's going to open things up for Berlanga. But it's not something that I want to bet a lot on, and it's plus 250 for a reason. But I will say that my favorite bet for this fight is over half a knockdown at minus 150 out on the market right now. Minus 160, I'm probably still good with it. Sheeraz has been dropped. Berlanga's been dropped. Both of them, Berlanga multiple times and also in the amateurs. So he is a little bit chinny. As far as Sheeraz goes, this is the heaviest puncher he will have ever faced, and probably easily. So Berlanga, I think his chance to win this will have to be by stoppage. So he's going to have to drop Sheeraz to give himself a shot. And I think he can do that. He just needs to not telegraph his punches. Next, Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Unfortunately, I thought this fight was going to be more interesting, but then we saw William Zepeda fight Tevin Farmer, and Tevin Farmer is basically a poor man's Shakur Stevenson at this stage. Tevin Farmer in 2 fights against William Zepeda dropped him once despite having 8 career knockouts with 33 wins and several losses. And Tevin Farmer arguably should have won at least the first fight, if not both, against William Zepeda. So William Zepeda was kind of exposed in that regard, and Shakur Stevenson is too skilled to do anything but win this fight. I think Shakur Stevenson takes this to the cards, as he often does, minus 220 to win by decision. If you don't want to play that straight up, I understand. Just throw it in a parlay leg, make that the second one, and you're good to go. If he does win by knockout, it'll be a surprise, but I would say look into the group round betting section if you think he can get the stoppage. That'll be between rounds 7 through 12 would be my recommendation. I don't think Shakur Stevenson would stop him early. If you want to shorten it and take a 10 to 12 or 9 to 12 or something along those lines, that's okay too. Last fight I want to talk about, Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias. This is a fight where Alberto Puello is either going to win by decision or Subriel Matias is going to win by knockout. Subriel Matias, every time he's won a fight, it's been by knockout. Alberto Puello doesn't have a ton of punchy power. He has a ton of skill, though. He's one of the most underrated guys in boxing. With that one, my lean is Subriel Matias by stoppage. My lean is that, but only if he can cut off the ring. This, to me, is one of the better fights that provide a live betting opportunity. So if I'm going to see Subriel Matias just following Alberto Puello around as he did with Liam Paro and just walk into these combinations and not really set up his shots, and Alberto Puello is doing a good job of boxing, then I'm going to be tempted to just bet Alberto Puello by decision live. And I know that we might get some juice at that point, but I think this is a good live betting spot for him. But if I'm seeing Subriel Matias actually kick things up and figure out like, hey, he can cut off the ring and actually pressure Alberto Puello in a smart way, then the stoppage should be there for him in the mid to late rounds. Also worth noting, if you like Subriel Matias, he tends to get his ass kicked in round 1. So wait till round 2 and potentially bet him live. But that's only if you like him. That's all we have for today. That was a lot. So hopefully we can digest that. If you want to recap, we will have something for you in the description because I don't even remember all my bets at this point. And we may be back next week because there are some bigger fights coming. Alexander Usyk, Manny Pacquiao's returning, inexplicably getting a title shot at that. But there's a lot worth talking about in the month of July for the sport of boxing. I'm Bryan Fonseca. Thank you for watching.